So glad to be with you. So glad to see your smiling faces and to see like an interest in this topic. And I have been in this topic like for around almost 30 years. 30 years. I remember myself as a little kid. I was a lot into sports, and I was a lot in the sports called boxing. And what we did in the boxing is the way of sport where you regulate your weight all the time. So all the time you need to be lighter than you are, and with on the very early age you start to do fasting, because my weight was, for example, 40 kilograms, but every time I went to competitions I needed to be like 35. And I all the time needed to get like 5 kilograms less and 10 kilograms less and 15 kilograms less. And then from the very early age, you start to fast. You start to fast. And then I started to realize like what is going on with my body, because the less I eat during those fasts, the better I can perform at the competitions. And I was a little bit confused. Like I thought like the food is giving us the energy, the food is giving us the power and all the nutrients and all the stuff we need. But actually in the real life it's vice versa. The less I ate, the stronger I became. And when I graduated from the high school, I went to the university and I started to study sports medicine, because I was very interested in this phenomenon, like how come that our bodies act better when there's no food in them, when there's no water in them? What is this phenomenon? Where do we get the energy? Because when I asked all my teachers at the school, at the high school, nobody could give an answer. Everybody said, yeah, these are our inner sources of the energy, but when you run out of these inner sources, then you probably die. Yeah, and this is not a good thing to fast, and don't get into this topic. And I realized, since nobody can give me an answer, I need to figure it out myself. I went to the university, studied for 7 years, get a master's degree in physiotherapy, become a physiotherapist myself, and for quite a while, for almost 15 years, I worked with a human body, and I was really fascinated to see that the human body, when you work with the people who have, let's say, an injury, yeah, when you see how he recovers, you realize that he does not recover because he eats or because he drinks. There is some other sources in play, and I was really fascinated about this, and I did a lot of experiments with my own body, and went from a very, very big weight to the very small weight, and then vice versa, and dry fasted for a couple months, and it was very, very interesting to observe that we don't know actually a lot about our bodies, and we haven't been told a lot. And another interesting phenomenon, I realized that it's actually known in many sports that the less you think, the bigger is this inner silence in you, the better you can perform, the better you can reach your own hidden abilities. And it's connected with the thinking. And then I started for another 10 years. I started getting into this topic of consciousness, of thinking, and seeing how this is connected to our body. Because as a former athlete, I thought like we train our bodies and we get stronger. If we get sick, we need strong immune system. If we have weak muscles, I need to do more exercises. But it doesn't work like this. When I see how the people recover, I realize that all the people don't recover at the same pace. There are people who recover very, very fast. There are people who recover very slow. But then I realized that it depends what is going on in our minds. And I came to a conclusion that the quieter we are inside, the easier we can reach our abilities. The easier we can reach our superpowers. The easier we can live without food, without water, without basically without anything. And I started to work with people, and right now for the last 8 years I work very closely with the people who have different mental issues and different post-war trauma or other issues. And I realize again, the less they think, the bigger is the inner silence inside of them, the easier they can recover. And I started to research this topic, and it's actually so simple. It's so simple that right now, for example, each one of you can heal your body completely. And right now, each one of you at the same time can destroy your body completely. And all the difference is in the thinking. It sounds funny because when we were little, we were taught to think. When we were little, our parents told us, think twice and look ahead and plan and organize and do this and that. For example, when little kid goes outside and he sees, let's say, a puddle, and what he wants to explore this puddle. He wants to jump up and down. He wants like all the water be all around him, and he wants to explore this. But how the little kids explore? They explore by doing. They don't explore by thinking. They explore by doing. And the little kid, that's his natural response, is to jump in a puddle. But what happens? Immediately, parent stops the kid and says, "Hey, don't do it. You will have wet boots, and we will need to go back home, and don't do it. Think about what will happen when you will do this." And kid starts to realize, oh, what's that? What's that the concept? Like, why should I think? Like, why can I not just listen to my body? Because my instincts say, go and explore it, go and jump in the puddle. But the adult tells me to think. Then kid wants to climb the tree. He sees a tree, he wants to climb a tree, and because this is his inner voice. His inner voice says, explore the tree, climb it, touch it, feel it. But what says adult again? Adult says, don't do it. You can fall. You can break something. You can hurt yourself. Don't do it. Think about what could happen. And very slowly, the kid starts to realize that when he thinks about the life, then the adult praises him. Adult says, oh, good boy, very good boy that you don't do this, because you good boy that you don't climb the tree, good girl that you didn't jump in the puddle, good kid if you don't live the life, but when you think about the life. And then the kid starts to realize that adults ask him to think about the life, not to live the life. Because when he thinks about the life, he don't need to do anything, right? But he gets all the good words from the parents. But when he explores the life, when he really lives the life from inside, then he gets the scolding. Then the parents say, "Why you are dirty again, and why you scratched your knee and this and that." So kid realizes, and then he goes into the kindergarten. What happens in the kindergarten? In the kindergarten, the kids are being told, now you need to sit, now you need to walk, now you need to do this and that. And kid realizes, wait, what's going on? Kid realizes that he cannot listen to his body. He cannot play when he wants to play. He cannot sing when he wants to sing. He cannot do things when he wants, but he needs to do things when somebody tells him to do. When the teacher tells him to do. That's the only way how he's allowed to do things. And in the beginning, the kid is very shocked, like how come, like why he cannot listen to his body. And this is phenomenon when the little kid goes to the kindergarten, usually in the very first week or month, he gets sick several times. And he has like running nose and cough and other sometimes there's something with the stomach, and parents think like, oh yeah, he met with the other kids and that's probably the viruses and this and that. But what actually happens is in the kindergarten, the kid starts to think intensively starts to think, because right now all day in the kindergarten he's taught to think, don't run, don't jump, don't do this, don't do that. And he starts to think. When he starts to think, all his energy goes into the thinking. And when all his energy goes into the thinking, his immune system doesn't get the energy. And he becomes weak, he becomes vulnerable to the immune system, and he starts to get all these illnesses. He gets running nose, he gets cough, he gets this and that, and that happens like very often with children. If you have little children or your friends, take a very close look. What happens like in the first months or two with the kids, right? They always get sick, and this is what happens because this energy vector inside of our body, he turns away from the immune system, from the body. He turns to the social stuff, to the communication in the kindergarten, to the listening to the teacher, to the relationship with the other kids, and immune system gets weak. And then the next step, the kid grows and he realizes that, oh, in this world, I cannot do what I want. I cannot do what my body tells me to do. I need to listen to the teacher. And then kid goes to the school. In the school, everything continues. Everything continues. There's one lesson where when kid can run around and be spontaneous, and there's 10 lessons when he needs to sit and listen to others and listen that he has been told to do. And this is when the real trouble starts, because kid realizes if he listens to his body, he gets bad marks. He gets like comments from adults that he's not a good kid and this and that. So, but when he listens to the teachers, he gets good marks and everybody's happy with him. But what happens is kid realizes that he gets sick very often when he goes to school. He gets sick, and the more he sits, the sicker he gets. And vice versa. If he doesn't really care about the school, but he runs around and he's active and he's in the nature, he rarely gets sick. Why? There's a question why it happens. Because the energy vector inside of our bodies from the social stuff turns to body stuff. There's only two vectors. The one vector is communication with the society, and another vector is our body. So, and it depends like where we turn the energy vector. That's what happens. Like if we turn the energy vector to the society and we spend a lot of energy and time in our work, in our study, in our family, talking to other people, worrying about the other people, our health very fastly goes down. When we go away to nature, we do a lot of movements. We run around. We do yoga. We meditate. We are inside. We are outside. We are in the fresh air. Our health increases. But the question is why? Why it increases? Why the health doesn't increase living in a city and working in an office in an office building for 8 hours sitting? Why it decreases then and why it increases when we live in the nature, for example? Very simple. The energy vector inside of us turns from the social life to body, and body can regenerate. Body can transform itself. And interestingly enough is that the less we think, the healthier we become. Everything is like vice versa than we were taught. And when we look at the nature, we see that the nature is not sick. There's health everywhere. Wherever we look in the nature, there's health. We look at grass, we look at trees, we look at animals, we look at whatever we see around. It's healthy. It's healthy, and the health is their natural state of being. This natural state. And there's an interesting question: why humans are the ones who live with the thousands of illnesses? But all the living beings outside of all the other living beings, they don't get sick. They get sick when they start to intervene with people. Like, for example, like the pets, our animals we live together with, they become sick and they start to they have the human illnesses. They have cancer, they have heart issues, they have blood vessel issues, all the same illnesses that the humans have. And an interesting question: why does it happen? And I actually work in several universities. I work with students, and we do a lot of social experiments. We do experiments in the field of thinking and see how the thinking mind destroys itself and how the inner peace, again, regenerates yourself. And we did a lot of experiments, and the experiments show that when you are in the inner peace, when you are in a total inner peace, when you are in a present moment, your body starts to self-adapt. Your body has a superpowers your body has an ability to adapt basically to anything. Like this winter, I did experiments with a cold. You go outside, like almost naked, yeah, and you stand in the snow. You stand in the snow. It's minus 15 degrees, and it's cold. But what happens when you stop to think about the cold? When you stop calling cold, when you experience cold as just an experience, when you experience cold, just an experience without naming it, at that point, your body starts to self-adapt to the cold, and you can be in cold infinity of time. When you start to think about the cold, what happens? Your body starts to lose energy. Thinking is the biggest energy takeaway. And once you start to think about the cold, when you name the cold, this is when your thoughts start to run, and you start to shiver. You start to become very cold. You cannot stand it. Your feet become blue, and you need to run inside, go inside, and get some a warm shower or something. But the thing is, once we name something, we start to lose energy. This is the same with the fasting. If you call the fast, then your thoughts start to run, and when your starts to run, you are losing the energy. And I work with a lot of people who wants to switch to breatharianism, who wants to switch to prana, who wants to stop eating or heal some body issues. All we work with is thoughts, because once you get rid of thoughts, your body starts to heal itself. And once you get the thoughts back, your body loses the energy and you start again to become sick. Once you get rid of thoughts, you can live without food, you can live without water, infinity of time. Because your body self-adapts. Your body self-adapts. Get back the thoughts and problems again, start again. And this is what I realized when I worked with the patients and people who are in the hospitals. I was very interested, like why some people recover very fast and why some people don't recover at all. And interestingly enough, the people who worry the most recover almost they almost never recover, or even if they recover, they immediately get sick after a while. And the people who have this inner silence, the people who are present, the people who are here and now, they recover like instantly. They recover so fast that even doctors say, I have no idea how it happens. In 2002, I had a very serious injury in the sports, and I got through several operations, and at the end of these operations, doctors said, you know, we didn't succeed in these operations, and your one side of your body will be paralyzed, and this is the truth. There's nothing we can do about this. And at that moment, I was 20 something and in the middle of my sports career, and I was quite shocked. But what I knew is how this thinking phenomenon works. I knew that if I start think about this diagnosis, if about this diagnosis, that I will not move anymore, that I will be paralyzed, and then this and that, this will become reality. If I go into the inner silence, the present moment, my body will self-adapt and my body will start to heal itself. Even the doctor said there's no chance that you will be normal again, because they said you have damaged nerves, you have damaged this and that. So they said there's no chance. But the thing is, what our doctors don't know, they don't know about the presence. They don't know that we have superpowers once we switch off the thinking process. And once we switch off the thinking process, we can do anything. Not that we do it, our body does it. Our body does it. And I have worked recently like with so many people, and it's very, very interesting that no matter what is your condition of your body, no matter what kind of diagnosis do you have, no matter what is the level of your illness, your body starts to heal itself once you get rid of thoughts. And there are thousands of illnesses all around, but the health is only one. And what does the traditional medicine? Traditional medicine works with the illnesses. They heal different. They try to get rid of different illnesses. But what they don't care about is they don't bring back the health. But what is health? The health is this inner peace. Inner peace, because this is our natural state of being. And once we are in this inner peace, then body can easily adapt, easily regenerate any illness. And I started to practice when I was in the hospital, and once I heard these words, the doctor said that you will not work, you'll be paralyzed, and this and that. At that point, I said to him, thank you, I'm really very grateful for everything you did, but I will walk away and I will try to do something different. And I started to practice all these methods that open the mindfulness inside of you. And very early on, very soon, I started to realize that my body starts to move. The side of the body the doctor said is paralyzed, that will never ever work, that will be paralyzed forever, started to move slowly, centimeter by centimeter, but it started to regenerate. And the more I got into the presence, the faster it happened. And after 8 years, I returned back to the same doctor, and he said, please, can I have your body and show it to students? And we want to show this phenomenon. And this is something very interesting. This is something that the science is not really admitting, but I started to research this method myself. And right now I work as a practitioner. I work as not only a physiotherapist, not the body practitioner, but also as the energy practitioner, and putting together these two things, energy and the body. And mostly what I work with is mindfulness. because I realized once I can switch person back to the mindfulness, to the inner peace, all the other stuff starts by its own. He doesn't need me anymore. And what my goal is to switch every person to the state where he becomes a healer, when he can heal himself, no matter what's wrong with his body, no matter what's diagnosis and at what stage is his condition. And there might be a question like, what is it? What is this presence, and how you get into this, right? And there are a lot of methods how to do it and what it is. But the thing is that we've been taught to think. The thinking is not the natural state of being. The thinking is natural at all. And that's the funny thing, that nobody told us that thinking is not natural. Because whenever, from the very early age, we were taught, think. And we were taught to think about the life and not to live the life. And a lot of people who I work with, they come to me and they said, what is this state that you are talking to? Because we live in the thoughts all the time. We don't live our lives. We think about our lives. And then what we do, we slowly, step by step, we get rid of the habit of thinking, and we return to the habit of non-thinking. Interestingly enough, we were taught how to think, but we were not taught how to not think. So thinking is a great tool. It's we need thinking when we need to solve some kind of problem or make a plan or organize something. We need thinking, and that's fine. But the problem is that we were not taught how to stop thinking, how not to use it. So we were given a great tool, for example, like a let's say electric drill. We were given this electric drill, and we know how to work with electric drill. But when we finished working, we realized that the electric drill is still working. We sleep, and electric drill is still working. We eat, electric drill is still working. We play with our kids, electric drill is working. And this is exactly what happens with our thinking. We play with our kids, but we think about the problems in the work, about the emails we haven't sent, about the stuff we haven't done. We talk to our loved ones. Let's say you talk to your parents or your wife or your husband, but your thinking is somewhere else. You think about your different problems, your work, your kids, and all the time our minds are occupied with thinking. Even when we go to bed, but thinking still continues, and dreaming continues. What is dreams? Dreams are the same thinking. It just continues and continues, and we don't know how to get rid of it. But the thing is, every time we think, we lose the energy. For example, I have worked a lot with the free divers, with the people who dive under the water. They can stay under the water 3, 4, 5, somebody even 7 minutes. And they say, when we are under the water and we start to think, we immediately need to get out of water. Because this is the moment when your body immediately loses the energy and your body needs air. But once you are under the water with no thoughts at all, you can be there 7 minutes, even more. Why? Because body self-adapts. Body self-adapts to cold, to not breathing, not eating, not. He adapts to everything. Switch on the thoughts, and boom, immediately you need to stop what you did. You need to stop going under the water, because immediately you lose energy. The climbers who climb the cliffs and mountains, they know this phenomenon. Again, they said if we climb the cliff and we think, this is when you can just go back. You better go home, because when you start to think while climbing, this is where the troubles begin, because your energy is now switched to thinking, and you are losing the energy, They say once we climb, we are totally, the mind is totally blank, and your body moves. Your body finds the best way of climbing, the best way, the everything he needs, and you will always be safe. Again, turn on thinking, and the troubles begin. And this is the same. Interestingly enough, I work with the doctors, and when we investigate, let's say, an illness, whatever it is, it always was triggered by the thoughts. All the illnesses, believe it or not, even if somebody falls off the ladder and breaks his arm, at the moment when he slipped and fall down, his mind was occupied by thoughts, and he lost this alertness, and he fall and he broke his leg or arm. But it started with thoughts. When people have a lot of thoughts, like for example, little kids, when little kids have a lot of adults around him that don't let him be who he is and tell him what to do. When a lot of adults tell kids, oh, you need to get good marks, you need to perform, you need to play violin, you need to play piano, you need to do this and this and that, what happens? The child usually gets sick. Why? Because he loses energy. He loses energy because he starts thinking. He starts to think how to get good marks, how to play good piano, how to become artist or something else. His body loses the energy, and the kid starts to get sick. And every time when for example, when I work with children and parents and they said, oh, my kid has the allergy, my kid has this and that, it's always about thoughts. It's not about some kind of outside phenomenon. It's always about thoughts. Even allergy, even running nose, but you name it. Everything is about, it starts with thoughts. And what thoughts do, thoughts block our bodies from the ability to heal themselves. This is where it begins. And when we look now at the humanity, we see that people are so sick with so many thousands and thousands of sicknesses, thousands of names. There's not a single doctor who knows all the names because there are so many. But nobody talks about the thoughts. Nobody starts with the thoughts. Nobody looks at the thoughts. And it's so interesting that science is for many years, science totally ignored this phenomenon of thoughts. And now very slowly it's getting back. And people are paying attention to this. And as I said, like every time when somebody comes to me, and I work a lot with the people doing consultations on different health issues, we always start with thoughts. And once we get this inner peace and inner silence inside of the person, then I'm sure that the person can heal himself easily. So then the only thing is, even as a physiotherapist, even as a specialist who worked with the bodies, I realized once you switch the person to the no thinking zone, the healing starts, and he doesn't need a practitioner anymore. All he needs that the practitioner who can switch him back all the time when he loses the awareness. And again, like, try to think about your lives, the best moments of your lives. Imagine those. What were the best moments of your life? You will realize that the best moments of your life were the moments when there was space of no thought. You maybe met your loved one, maybe you traveled somewhere or somewhere else. These are the moments when there was no thoughts. There was no thoughts. And then try to remember all the bad situations that has had in your life. And you will see that these are the situations when there was a lot of thought. When you thought about it, when you worried about something, where you were so into the mind that everything turned like upside down. Like, for example, if you look at the world globally, all the wars are started with the thought. Can you imagine that all the wars in the world were started by the smartest people out there? These are the people who started all the wars in the history of humanity were the people with the higher education, the people who were loved by the other people who vote for them. Those are the smartest people. But why the result is like this? Why there's wars like so often? Why? How come that the smartest people can do such a result? And again, answer is one: thoughts. When people get into the thoughts, then the destruction starts to happen, and not only destruction to their own bodies, but the destruction to other bodies of the people. Imagine like all the conflicts that the humanity has ever had, they all have been triggered by thought, not by some kind of natural disaster or virus or something. Everything has started with a thought. And interestingly enough, that once we again get back to this space of no thought, then everything starts to regenerate. Imagine like a man is on an island. The man survives from the cruise from the ship crash, and he now is on the island. He comes on the island, and what happens? He starts to think. Okay, I'm the only one who survived. I'm on an island. This island is most likely inhabited. I need to stay here. And he starts to look around. He looks, oh, there are trees. I can cut those trees and maybe do a boat and maybe build a house or something. Oh, there are fish. I can catch the fish and have some food. Oh, I see there's antelope running around. Maybe I can catch her and make like a new boots for myself. You see what happens? Every thought he just thought is destructive. So somebody needs to die because of his thought, either a tree or an antelope or a fish, but somebody needs to die. And it started with the thought. You see, every time when human turns on thoughts, the destruction starts. Destruction, either destruction of his own body or world in general, or both. And then the guy goes inside of the island and sees, oh, there's a crocodile. What if I catch the crocodile and make a shoes out of his leather, or a bag for my wife, or oh, there's a bird. Maybe there should be somewhere eggs. I can have. You see, every step is destruction. Unbelievable. Whatever he does, based on the thoughts, is destructive. And this is exactly what we see in the health, in the almost all paths of life come with the thoughts, and there will be suffering sooner or later. If the person starts to think, no matter what are the thoughts, these might be the most pleasant thoughts on earth, they will lead to suffering sooner or later. And again, once you act from the place of no thought, you become one with the nature, with the universe, so to say. Because in the universe, in the nature, there are no thought. No thought. The grass is not thinking. The grass just grows. The tree is not thinking. He doesn't need to think. He just grows. He knows how to get the water, how to feed all the leaves and everything, with no thought. All the animals, all the living creatures, they don't think. How come that they are never sick? How come that they live longer than we do? How come that they are smarter? How come that they are more present than we are? And how come that the smartest species on earth, the human, is always sick? And how come that if you look at the world, what has thinking mind, what he has done to the world. We see all the polluted air, we see the climate, we see everything is like destruction. How come that thoughts led to something like this? And again, we see that every time we switch back to no thinking, we become one with the nature. We can heal our bodies, we can heal the planet, we can heal other people. Each one of us has like a super abilities inside of you. You can heal people around you. You can become whoever you want if this is not based on thought. And each one of us perfectly knows his purpose, his mission, the best way of his life. And the key is hidden in the space of no thought. And once you enter this, things start to happen. Right now, imagine like be aware of your bodies right now. Your eyes are blinking. Your eyes are blinking. Right now, you're listening to me, your eyes are blinking. How do they blink? How do they know when to blink? And for how long and how fast and how strong? Do we think about it? No, we don't think about it. It's not because we think about blinking. Blinking just happens without thinking. Your heart, right now, your heart perfectly knows what to do, how to pump the blood, when to release, when to stretch, with no thought. Who thinks about this? Who thinks about heart doing all it does? Nobody thinks. So heart works with no thought. Blinking happens with no thought. Blood vessels, everything in our bodies works with no thought. Start to think about blinking. Start to think about every time you blink, think before it. Think, okay, now I will blink and now I will open. And now I will blink again and now I will open. It will become a nightmare. Start to think about your breathing. Now I breathe in, now I breathe out. Now I breathe. It's a nightmare because you will easily get out of breath when there is thought. Forget about breathing and breathing just happens. And there's an interesting question, like how body knows how to breathe with no thought. We don't think about breathing. Breathing just happens. Seeing just happens. Hearing just happens. Blinking. Everything in our body just happens. How come that it all this magical stuff works with no thought? And once you start to think about all these processes, immediately you feel the heaviness. You feel that something is wrong. You will get nuts. You will get insane if you will keep thinking about all your processes in your body. You will never get into sleep. How you can sleep? That what if your heart stops when you sleep, right? But we fell asleep. Why? Because it just happens with no thought. With no thought, we just surrender to this. And interestingly enough, when we surrender to this state of no thought, when we totally surrender to this, the same as we surrender to breathing, to blinking, to all the processes in our body, once we surrender to this process of no thinking, then the real magic starts to happen in your life. Then you realize that, oh, I don't need to work 8 hours a day. I can work 1 hour a week and get 10 times more money than I get before. You start to become very effective. You start to become very precise. You don't lose your energy on the side because there's no thinking. There's no worrying. There's no, you are not afraid anymore. You're not afraid, oh, what if this happens or what if that happens? You go with the flow. This is, in the literature, it's also referred to the flow state of flow, state of inner flow. There was a scientist, Csikszentmihalyi, who actually did a lot of research about the flow state, but he didn't connect it to the thinking process. But interestingly enough, once you connect it with the thinking process, then you realize that actually all the religions talk about the state of no thought. Christianity, Islamic, all the religions, Indian, everybody talks about the same thing, about the same phenomenon. It calls differently, but these are the same thing. So when we if we are in one or another religion, start to replace the word God, let's say, with the word presence, and you will see that everything immediately starts to make sense. And right now, when you are listening to me, you see that at this moment, when you listen to me or you listen to each other, thinking is not needed. Even talking can be executed without thinking. And talking can be executed, talking can be connected to thinking. And once you connect the talking to thinking, nobody wants to listen to you anymore. For example, if you are a parent or you have kids, you know this state when kids says, "Oh, mom, please don't do this." Like I have heard this million of times. Why kid reacts so? Because he knows that the mom's talking is rooted in thoughts. And when it's rooted in thoughts, it will take away kids' energy. Our children perfectly feel it. And again, once you talk with a kid from the present moment, from the no space of no thought, the kid will be like he will be so happy. And interestingly enough, when you talk from the place of no thought, all the universe starts to help you. Recently, I was at the airport, and I was dropping my luggage on the line, and there was 7 kilograms overweight, 7 kilograms more, and I saw that the people are going to the, if their luggage is extra weight, then they need to go to another counter and need to pay the some kind of money for each kilogram what's overweighted. And I approached the counter with this my luggage. I put it on a weight, and they see it's 7 kilograms overweight. And I stand in front of them in a total presence, in a total peace. And I just looking at them and just smiling, just being quiet, being quiet. And what happens is, when you are in the state of no thought, all the other people around you enter the space of no thought. And what happened is, they started to take care of me. Those people behind the counter started to think, oh, this guy has like 7 extra kilograms in the luggage. We need to help him. Oh, what if we just put a mark? And I just stand in front of them and smile. And they start to do everything they can just to help me, just to put this luggage through with no penalty fee, with nothing. And this is what happens when you are in the state of no thought. Other people go into this state of no thought, the same. And what happens is, when you care of other people start to care of you. I always tell this. And actually what happened, so they found a way how to put this luggage through of me not paying at all, and they were happy, and I was very grateful, but I didn't ask for it. It just happened. I remember another interesting case. I was going from one university to another university, and there was like 100 kilometers in between, and I was in my car, and I saw like, oh, I'm a little bit late, and I started to speed up a little bit. So the maximum speed was around 90. I was like 95, 98, something like this. So I needed to be on time for the next lecture, and I speeded up a little bit, and then at one point I see, oh, there's police car behind me. I see they go with the flashlights, and I saw that they showed me, they asked me to stop, and I stopped. And I look in the mirror and I see the policeman is approaching, and I'm in a totally space of no thought, zero thought. I'm just totally empty. And the policeman is approaching, and first feeling that I have in my body is I need to tell my gratitude to this police officer. I need to say him thank you for saving me, because I was speeding up, and maybe he's just saving my life with this, with stopping me. And I rolled down the window and I said, police officer, just with all from the bottom of my heart, all just what I want to say is just a huge thank you that you stopped me, and that you are doing your job, and you are saving lives. You're saving life. You saved my life. You saved life of my children, my life of my. You're saving lives. So all I want to say is a huge, huge gratitude for you doing your job at such a great level. Try to guess what happened at this moment. The policeman blushed. He turned red, and he started to protect me. He said, wait, you were not speeding that much, you know? He said, you know, other people are speeding like 200 kilometers per hour, and that's really a nightmare. You was like only 95. It's not a big deal. And I said, no, whoa, whoa, whoa. I said, I'm not asking you to let me go. I said, just do your job. Just, I want to say how great you are doing your job. You're doing like, and what happened? He started to protect me, and I started to protect him of doing his job. He started protecting me of not paying the fine. And at one moment he said, wait, why are you in such a rush? Where are you going? I said, I go to the university, and I know that there will be traffic jams in a city, and I a little bit, so that's why I drive faster than I should. And he said, you know what? I know. I will switch on the flashlights, and you drive very closely behind me, and we will go through all the traffic jams in the city, and you will be in time for your students. So this is, guys, what happens when you are in an absolutely state of no thinking. Because my natural reaction, what would be, how it will turn out, this situation, if I start to argue with a police officer and tell him that, oh, you know, 95, it's not such a big deal. What will happen? He will start to do the same. I will start protect myself. He will start protect himself, and we will get into the arguing. What will happen if I will tell the people at the airport saying, oh, I didn't know that 7 kilograms is such and this, and start to argue with them? They will start to argue with me. But what happens when I come when I enter the space of no thought? All the other people enters the space of no thought. And this is the natural state. This is a natural state for each of us. And when we are in the natural state, we start to care each other, because this is our natural state of being, to care about each other. Not to fight, not to go into the war, but care about each other. Once we are again back in the thoughts, then we can do wars all the time, because thoughts are running, and thoughts are telling what to do. This is the drill that you cannot switch off. And after that, I started to do these experiments with the students. I work with the students in several countries in Europe, and I tell them, guys, this is how this method works. Now I want you to go outside of the university and go to people and test these methods. One of the methods, what we do is I ask students to go into the supermarket and stand at the counter when there's this long line where you put your products, and then it goes by the line, and then the person who works at the counter, you know, just counts everything and asks you the money. So I said, let's do this experiment. So you put your stuff on this line, and slowly approach the person who works at the counter, and look at the person, and get an inner state of no thought. And at one point, you will feel that this person feels like your very close relative. Don't look at the person as the employee of the store, or just look at the person with no thought. When we look at the others of no thought, we go into this field of caring. And what happens is, and then I ask students, and then write down after, once you do this experiment, write down what happened. What happened. And students write me, like in 2 different countries, students write me down the same thing. They say, when I started to approach the employee of the store, what happens is, first of all, he said, inside of me is total emptiness, and I feel this caring and loving atmosphere around. But interesting is what happens with the person at the counter. He said the person at the counter immediately starts to look around and look for this weird feeling, because the person feels that there's something extraordinary, something that is not happening every day. And then our eyes meet, and the person at the counter starts to help me, starts to put everything into the bags, and starts to telling me what's good today and what's bad. And from a side, it looks like 2 very close friends has just met. But they see each other for the first time, but they talk as a very close friends. And all the people in the line are looking like, oh, what's going on there? Like, why they are 2 friends and talking like. But this is what happens when you go into the state of no thought. Then everybody becomes like a closest person on earth for you. Everybody, not only your kids and your parents or your loved ones, but everybody. You go down the street, every person is like your family. This is the inner feeling. Inner feeling, what you feel when you go down the street with no thoughts. Everybody becomes your family. At that point, you cannot argue with anybody. You cannot yell at anybody. You cannot think. It's just so bizarre. And interesting enough, the other people start to feel the same about you. I travel a lot. I change like several countries each year. I live in different countries. And it's so funny. You go to the country you have never been at, and you look at the people, and people look at you, and they greet you. They want to talk to you. They want to take a photo with you. I'm sure they have never ever seen me. I'm not that famous. But in every country, I have people who wants to take a photo with me, who wants to sit with me, who wants to chat with me, who wants, like today, I was walking down the street in a city that I have never been at. And people look at me and they say hello, and they want to start a contact. Why? Because subconsciously, they feel this state of caring, this state of love, this state of no thought. And this my state of no thought starts the state of no thought inside of them. And they think that, oh, I have seen this guy somewhere. And they start to, they look for contact. They look for conversation. They look for a meeting. And I go to the marketplace, and I met a guy who said, oh, I have a like a nice house in the garden. I can give it to you for free if you need to stay somewhere. So it's so bizarre. All the world starts to help you. And this phenomenon, you can observe it yourself just by practicing it. Just by practicing. And there are different methods how to get into this state. There are different approaches, but once you are in this state, this is where the magic happens. This is where everybody wants to work with you. Everybody wants to invite you to projects. Everybody wants to be part of whatever you do. Everybody wants to listen to you. So it sounds like magic. It sounds like magic, but actually it's not a magic, because it's our real state of being. It's our natural state. But what has happened very early on, we were taken away from the state, and we were taught to think. We were taught to think. And from the very early age, we are thinking. But what is thinking? Thinking is just living like in an illusion. Like, for example, kid who wants to jump into the puddle, or he wants to climb the tree, if the parent teaches him not to do it, but think about it, then kid starts to live in illusion. He thinks, oh, I will not climb the tree because if I climb, I can fall. But this is an illusion. He never knows if he will fall or not. He lives in illusion. Then the next parent tells him, oh, you need to eat a breakfast every day, then you will become strong. And he starts to think, oh yeah, I will eat breakfast, then I will become strong. And he starts to eat breakfast. But he doesn't know. He lives in an illusion because somebody tells him, somebody told him this. But he didn't test it by himself. So this is a really, it might sound like a very magic state. It might sound, I have worked with people who really discover, who start to do things that they have never ever done. I worked with one group, and there was a woman who started to think, to sing. He said, I had never ever thought about singing, but singing just opened in me, and she started to sing. There was a guy who started to draw. There was the people who got brilliant business ideas. So it really looks like a superpowers, like talents or something. But it's not talents, as I said. It's natural state of being, and every time we enter this state, this is when the real life happens. It's not fairy tale, it's not magic, it's not esoterics or mystics or something. This is our real state of being. And once we discover it, this is when the life starts. All the years we lived before that were the years we lived in illusion, in the realm of thinking. And today, this is what happens. Like now, very interesting. I work a lot with the students, with the high school students, and when you talk to the children about this state, they immediately recognizes it. They know it. And when you talk about the state, you talk to adults, you feel like no, this sounds like a wishy-washy voodoo thing. This, I don't know. Thinking starts to happen. When you talk about this to the 5th graders, they immediately say, yes, I have tried this and I did this and that, and this is how this magic works. And when you talk even like the university level students, they try several these practical methods outside, and they see, wow, it works. It really works when you start to see your closest in every person. When you start to become one with the world, and one with the world, you can become only in this state of no thinking. You cannot become one in the world like thinking about it. And then you realize that you don't need to go to India and meditate like for 5 years. You don't need to do some energetic practices or some esoterics or something. All you need to do is just enter this space of no thought. And then your body starts to move. Your body moves, but you look at your body like from a side, and your body does stuff you never ever knew that it can do. You start to speak languages, you start to, it's amazing. So I would be happy, to share with you a lot of these methods and how to go into this and try exercises and everything. But the information is so huge that I can give you like only try this one experiment that I do with my students. So every time you go into the grocery store or you walk down the street, look at the people and just give yourself like this inner state that this is your family. Everybody, policeman, my family. Guy who's homeless, my family. Lady at the counter, my family. Oh, little kid running around, my family. Everybody becomes your family. Everybody. Just give this inner state that all people around you are your family. And then this is the moment when you enter this state of no thinking. And then you realize that you start to smile. You start to feel lighter than you are. You feel like you levitate in the ground, because you immediately get rid of all these social concepts around you. When you talk, let's say, with your mom or with your dad or with some very close relative, listen to the person with no thinking, and you will hear everything, but you will realize that you are hearing not with your ears, but you hear with your whole body, and the person will feel differently. Because what happens when we listen to somebody and think about the same time, our attention jumps from thinking to what the person is saying, from thinking, and you will get maybe 10% of the person said. And it will be difficult to understand each other if we listen to each other through thinking. But if we listen to each other like now, this was the state of no thought. This little piece was state of no thought. Right now, you are listening to me with state of no thought. And you feel that your body, it becomes almost like, it becomes like weightless. And then try to think, and you will immediately feel the heaviness. Heaviness. Every time I call myself somebody, that's where the trouble begins. When you say, I am, those two words, when you say to yourself, I am, you feel the lightness. You feel the lightness. You feel the liveness inside your body. You want to live. You want to, I am. Right now, give yourself and this, tell yourself, I am. I am. And what do you feel in your body when you say, I am? You feel some kind of weightless, you feel sensation, you feel energy, you feel, but then say, I am man, or I am woman. And this is where the trouble begins, because this state immediately switches on the thoughts. If you say, I am, for example, I am a man, immediately you start to think, oh, I'm a man. Oh yeah, but there are other men who are more wealthy than me, and then there's somebody who are better looking, and I'm a man. Yeah, I'm already so old, and thoughts start to go. Or tell yourself, I'm a son, or a daughter. Oh, I'm a daughter. Oh, I haven't called my mom for quite a while. Oh gosh, yeah, I promised her to buy new boots, and oh, I didn't. Immediately give yourself a role. Immediately starts the thinking process. Once you are at the part I am, everything is great. Everything is, there are no thoughts. I am. Because when you say the words I am, these are the most truthworthy words that you can say about yourself. Nobody can argue with you, because we feel it. We feel it. But once you finish the sentence and give the word, I am man, I am woman, I'm daughter, I'm son, I am employee, I'm this and that, I'm consciousness, and whatever the word you gives you, finish the sentence and you are in trouble. Immediately thinking process starts. Immediately. When you say I am, and that's emptiness. With no finishing the sentence, this is where the show starts. This is where the lightness and energy enters the body. Finish the sentence, and boom, you become heavy. Just try this experiment right now. Tell yourself you are, and then say your name. And watch what will happen next. Immediately thoughts will start. When you say yourself, just I am, without continuing the thought, you feel liveness in your body. And this is what the thoughts are doing. This is what the thoughts are doing. And imagine like how many times per day you tell yourself, so, oh, now I'm the teacher, now I'm the daughter, now I'm the son, now I'm the husband or wife, and this and that. So thousands of times we change our role during the day. But what happens every time we change the role, we attach the thoughts to this. And when we attach the thoughts, we become heavier. The energy goes away. And every time when you leave all the concepts, all the roles, everything, when you leave them and you are just I am. That's it. Try to talk to the people around you with just concept, I am. So talk to your mom through this I am concept. Not I am your son or your daughter, because then you will be in trouble immediately. For example, you are 40 years old and your mom tells you what to wear and she's unhappy with you and you tell yourself, I am the son or daughter, and you'll be in trouble because your thoughts will never stop. Even when you leave the mom and you go to your kids, your thoughts will still run around and you will lose the energy and you will feel that, oh, I'm so drained. I need a glass of wine at the end of the day. But when you listen to your mom, just through this I am, then nothing can hit you, nothing can injure you, because there's no discompletion. There's nobody to injure. Nobody can assault you. Nobody. The people can say whatever they want, but if you have this incomplete state, I am, then there's all these arrows are going through you. And tell yourself, I am employee or for example, right now, if I'm telling myself I am a speaker right now, then immediately thoughts start, oh, yeah, but there are better speakers and I don't know this crowd and who are those people and maybe they don't understand me, maybe don't blah, 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 blah. Immediately I start to lose energy. When I go through I am, that we all become a family right now. I look at you and I feel you like my family members, like the closest people to me, because I haven't finished the sentence. I haven't finished I opened the life is open. But once we say I am speaker and you are my audience, boom, this is fixation. I close the life. I fixed it. And this is where the problems begin. So play with this concept, and you will feel immediately the change of the level of energy. Our inner energy is very tied to thinking. Try to observe it. In different situations of your life, try to observe it. What happens when you intensively think? You will easily feel like very, very heavy. You will feel tired. You will feel depressed. You will feel worried. Why people, for example, if somebody has like a shortage of breath or he's about to faint, why do we say, hey, open the windows, let the air in? Why we don't say, hey, switch on the TV? For example, you have a headache. Why don't we switch on the TV and don't watch the news when we have a headache? But we better open the window. Why? What happens? Like in the news, there are like smart people talking about smart stuff. Why we don't switch it off? Why we go to walk into the nature? What happens? The only answer is if we switch on the TV, that's more thoughts. And more thoughts means less energy and heavy body and illness starts. When we go into the nature, what happens in the nature? There are no thoughts. The nature is the space of no thoughts. And when we enter the space of no thoughts, our thoughts vanish as well. And we feel better. Why we feel better in nature? This is the only reason. Because nature has no thoughts. Why don't we feel bad in the middle of crowded city, in the middle of New York? Why? It's smart people have constructed all the buildings and crowds and streets and everything, but we feel bad there. But where the people haven't touched the landscape, we feel very good. How come? Answer is in one: thought. This has been created. New York has been created by thought. Forest has been created by no thought. And this is the only difference, why we feel bad in the middle of the crowded city and why we feel good in the nature. And try to all the time, try to differentiate these two states, thoughts and presence. And now, from now on, start to check your life. What happens when you are thinking and what happens when you are in the middle of the forest and there's no thinking. Or, for example, if you have a pet, a cat or a dog, look at the cat. Look in the cat's eyes or dog's eyes. You will immediately feel presence. Presence. You see the dog is looking at you, but you don't feel the thought. That's why we love dogs and cats so much, because you feel that there's no thought. The dog is not thinking, oh, what an ugly human I have with me, or I have no idea what he will do. No, there's no thinking. Dogs and cats look at us with no thinking, and that's why we are so fascinated by them. Little children. Why little children are so. When you go somewhere with a little toddler on the hands, everybody just turns around. Everybody is just smiling and asking, oh, what a cute baby. Oh, this and that. And if the little kid, let's say, falls and starts to cry, everybody wants to lift him. Everybody wants to help him. Why? Why? Why it doesn't happen when we see, let's say, a homeless person? A drunk homeless person is just somewhere lying down on the street. Nobody wants to really help him. Why not? What's the difference? Why everybody wants to lift the kid, but nobody wants to lift the homeless person? What's the difference? What kid knows that the other person doesn't know? How kid attracts all the attention of the world? He doesn't even, he don't know even how to speak, but all the attention is his. How does it happen? Or, for example, you are at some party with relatives, and then there's like one kid, a little kid, wants to say a poem, and everybody listens, everybody just like holds the breath and listens how the 5-year-old or 4-year-old is telling the poem. Why? Why everybody is so fascinated by this little poet? Why? Because he talks from the space of no thought. That's the only difference. That's why all the world is so attracted to little children, because they are the ones who live in the space of no thought. Like in one religion, there was said that the kingdom of God belongs to children. Why to children? Because there's space of no thought. Children don't get into the war. Children don't fight. Children don't hurt each other when they are very little. For example, from 0 to 2-ish, 3-ish, when you look at a children's playground, when there are children who are 2 or 1, 1.5, 2, never ever you will see a fight, an argue, even if there are kids of different nationalities, they always will play together smoothly and lovingly. Once the kids get older, 5, 6, immediately there's, oh, this is mine, these are my toys, and these are your toys, and why are you taking mine, well, this and that. Thinking starts and conflicts start. For toddlers, there's no thinking, no conflicts. So right now, we have created the space of no thought together. It's easier to create it when you do it with somebody together. So right now, I totally totally believe that each one of you feels this space of no thought right now. Right now. Like feeling in a body that you don't even need. You don't even feel the body. You don't feel the limits of your body. You don't feel the borders of your body. And because there's space of no thought. So play with it. Play with it when you go to people, when you are outside in a city, or just play with it. Play with it. And next time we can talk about more methods, how to get into this. But today, let me leave you with one method. The method is the name of the method is closest person on earth. Watch at every person you meet as your closest person on earth. Because right now, with you, we are the closest on earth. Right now. Because our time, our lifetime, we are spending on each other. We are spending on talking, on listening to each other. Right now, we are the closest ones. Not with our children, not with our loved ones, but now. This little intimate crowd is the closest people on earth right now. And from now on, start to watch people, observe people, like all the people you see around. These are your family, your closest people on earth. And you will realize that you go into the grocery store, you look at the person who works there, and you immediately feel the bond. And the person starts to act differently. Person starts to looking at you, oh, I know you, I have seen you somewhere. And every time I am in a city I have never been at, and people tell me, oh, I have seen you somewhere. Do we know each other? And I always say, yes. I say, of course we know each other. We're humans, like we are one family. Come on, like, of course we know each other. And they look at me, oh yeah, I remember. And they start to remember some kind of weird moments of their life when they have met me, but we have never met. But it doesn't matter. We all are one family. So try this technique and you will see magic. You will see magic. And try it every moment with everybody. Do not divide people. Oh, these are my family and these are not my family. And this is my boss and these are my colleagues, and this is the person I don't know and this is the person I want to know, and this is the actor on the TV and this is no. We all are family. We all are closest people on earth. And then once you go with this inner state, it's very easy for you to talk to everybody. You can talk to president, you can talk to actor, you can talk to whoever it is. You can talk as a people you have very close ties. So if you guys have any questions or comments or thoughts or whatever, no thoughts, please. Let's get rid of thoughts. Questions, comments, whatever it is, maybe just silence. And I always kind of am amazed how I work with people. I work with people. We go through series of consultations. For example, there's somebody comes to me and says, "Oh, I have a cancer of the fourth stage," and we start to work together. And let's say we do 15 consultations in a row, and it's very interesting. Like in the very beginning, first consultation is me doing a lot of talking, like today. The next consultation is we talk a little bit less, but we talk both of us. The third consultation is we talk less, and the fourth is less, and then less, and then like the last 5 or 4 consultations is we just meet online and we don't talk. We are in this field of no thought, because when you are in the field of no thought, the healing starts. Your body starts to heal. Right now, all of you become younger. Right now, your age reverses. If you know, we have biological age, we have passport age. And this is like in the medicine. Like every time when a patient comes to doctor needs to fix his, to find out his biological age. For example, in your passport, your age is, let's say, 45, but your biological age is the age your body is at that particular time. It could be 20, it could be 60, it could be whatever it is. So, but the doctors work with our biological age, not with our passport age. And interestingly enough, that your biologic age, you can move both directions. You can go older with eating, you know, some fast food and not moving, and you can go younger with fasting. You can go younger with all the other energetic practices. Yeah, but you can move. You can easily decide at what age you want to be. You know, and this is science. It's not like, again, it's not esoterics. That's a science. It's a medicine. Nobody told us this phenomenon. Everybody told us that your age is the number in the passport, but it's not true. Our age is, we can move our age to whatever level we want. And even and can you imagine that the science admits this fact, and science works based on this fact, but nobody tells us. Nobody tells this to people. So whatever comes to you right now, feel free to raise your hand, turn on the mic, and we can talk. If not, we can just be in this space of no thought, because this is the most healing phase of your body. Space of no thought. And you feel it right now. Right now you can experience it. And the more people that are working on this, the easier the easier this feeling starts. The easier you enter this state, easier there are more people. I have tried this with students, around 200 people in one room. Immediately, it's just like 1 minute and everybody is like in state of hypnosis. But it's not hypnosis. It's our natural state. We do a lot of experiments and observations in the children playgrounds. We go with the students in the children playground and we observe very closely how do children play. And once they play, as I said, like if they are little children, they don't, as I said, they don't argue, they don't fight, they don't even bump into each other, they don't have injuries, they don't. But once there starts, once the adults from a side starts to yell and say, hey, don't do this, don't touch the kid, don't da, 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 then immediately all the crowd becomes imbalanced. Children start to bump each other. The children start arguing. Children start, once the thought enters this natural bubble of the no thought, then the bubble becomes affected. And all the children starts to fall. The children starts to bump each other. The children starts to not understand each other immediately. And then again, the adult just turns off pulls out the phone, starts to sit in the phone, and then again, everything again slows down, and they again get into this state of natural being. And interestingly enough, that you can talk with no thinking. Talking doesn't always mean that you need to think. Like, for example, today I was talking to you. In the very beginning, I had no idea what we are going to talk about. And interesting that, for example, all the religions, they do prayers. What is a prayer? The prayer is the entrance to the space of no thought. For example, in the very old ages, like the people when they were scared, for example, and they didn't know what to do, they prayed. But what is when they feel afraid, for example, what is a fear? The fear is rush of thoughts. And what they did, they started to pray. What is a prayer? The prayer is this: you slow down the thoughts. You slow down the thoughts. You repeat all the same thing all over again, and you enter the state of no thoughts. And the prayer in all the religions is only like an entrance to the space of no thought. And this is where it happens. This is where it goes. So not necessarily always you need to think when to be able to talk. And when you say when the mother encourages the kid to do something, there can be two scenarios. The one scenario is she starts to think, oh, my kid is so weak, I need to encourage him, I will say him this word. But the kid immediately feels from where the mother is speaking, from the space of thought, thinking, oh, my kid is so weak, he needs to become stronger, or from her heart, as it says, from the space of no thought. And if we hear the encouragement from the space of no thought, we feel that this is true. We feel the power of it. We feel this energy power of it. But when we hear good words from the space of thinking, we feel that it's fake. For example, if somebody tells you, oh, you are so gorgeous, you're so beautiful, this and that, we immediately sense this is true, this is not true. We immediately sense that when people are not telling the truth, even though they say good words and compliments, we immediately sense it. What's the difference? The difference is when the compliment comes from the space of thought, we know that the person wants something else. He probably wants our money or whatever it is. We feel the difference. But when we hear the same compliment from somebody who says it truthfully, from a heart, with no intention, with no expectations whatsoever, we feel that totally different energy. So words can come from both sides, from thinking mind and from space of no thought. But the trick is we feel different energy. For example, watch different videos on YouTube, and you immediately will sense, oh, this speaker is interesting. I wanna listen to him. Even not getting into the content, what he's saying. And another content is very interesting, but you feel the speaker is talking from the space of thought. How you will feel it? You will feel the heaviness inside of you. When you listen to somebody and you feel that, oh, it's heavy, it's just, something is not right. This is the talking from space of thought. And when you feel that, when you listen to somebody and you're just like, whoa, I feel like I'm flying. I get into this hypnotic state and you feel light and energized. This is the person who's speaking from the space of no thought. And words, words can be either way. So but check it every time. You will, the more you work on this, the easier you will start to differentiate, and you will realize that you can start to read people very easily. You just talk to people, you immediately feel this is it comes from the thoughts, and this comes from the, as religions say, pure heart. You just start living from, you shift the mind, you shift to your heart, and you start living from heart, as the religions refer. But interestingly, that all the religions, they talk about the same thing. They talk about the presence. They talk about entering this, as they say, kingdom of heaven. But this is a state of no thought. And this is where the kingdom of heaven really starts. This is the paradise, or whatever other religions call this state. But they all talk about this state of no thought. And some religions call it paradise, some religions call it nirvana, some religions call it differently, but
it's actually a state of mind. It's consciousness.
Yeah.
There's consciousness.
Yeah. So yeah, it's really very interesting to observe how you, when I work with patients and for 1 hour, we just look at each other and we are in total silence. And after that, the patient says, oh, yeah, I did tests and all the doctors said that there's such a huge spike and everything has, my health has really improved so greatly. And they say, oh, wow, Andi, you are such a great healer. I said, no, 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 no. It's not about me. It's a state of no thought. It's a presence. Presence is doing the healing, not me. I'm just, and when you look at the other, let's say, again, the same religions, how these gurus heal the people, again, through the space of no thought. There's no other way how you can heal others, just through the space of no thought, because then the body heals itself. So yeah, it's a very, very interesting topic, and it becomes more and more interesting once you start to dive into it, once you start to practice. You go to the grocery store and start to practice that, oh, this is my family. You start to practice it, and you realize that you can talk from this state. You can act from the state. You don't need to sit under the tree and meditate. You can do your job. You can do whatever you do, but everything changes. The result changes. And interesting that at the end of the day, you don't feel tired. You don't need food to get the energy. You are the energy. Because you are in space on no thought. You don't lose the energy. And again, sometimes if you fall into this thinking process, you will need a lot of food. A lot of food. I work with people who switch to autonomy, of living with no food and water. The only way how they can switch is this from this space of no thought. Because if they start with the thinking and go into this process, it will be very difficult. Very difficult. They will have these ups and downs all the time, and the process will be a nightmare. Even if they succeed and become like autonomous for a week or two, it doesn't matter, because then these thoughts will eat them. The thoughts will eat all the energy, and they will need to stop the process sooner or later. And again, enter it with the space of no thought, and you can be there infinity of time. Infinity. It doesn't really changes anything. You can eat for a month, and you can don't eat for a month, and no food at all. You don't feel the difference in energy level, because the energy is not in a bottle of milk or piece of cheese or bread. It's not. It's just everywhere. Oh, yeah. And again, this is the most precious moment right now. No thinking. Thank you very much, and continue this practice. Stay in it, even though we will switch off the cameras and Zoom. Stay in it. Stay in it. It's a blessing to be in this state. Thank you so much, and stay in touch.